please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Von Crooks?
Here.
Benedict?
Here.
Howie?
Here. Here.
Lucy?
Here.
Zappa?
Here.
Stack?
Here.
Forum present, Mayor Stack.
Thank you very much. First order of business here is the approval of the August 5th regular meeting.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. First, great presentation we have today is for the Trenton Rotary Club Paul Harris Award. Can we make that part of the
So moved.
minutes?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. So I would like to bring up Dr. Noel Jackson. And our president of our Rotary Club, Matt Hattie.
Come on over here. Come over here, Matt. Matt, if you can get this out and hold this up for Clarence. Tonight we're going to be presenting a couple of Paul Harris Awards. Together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe and in our communities and in ourselves. This is the vision of Rotarians. The Paul Harris Fellow recognition has been decorating our Rotary Foundation's passionate honorees for many years. It is a proud tradition that honors the memory of our founder, Paul Harris. I believe that he would be deeply moved to see all that Rotarians and friends of our foundation have done and continue to do in the name of Rotary. In order to be honored as a Paul Harris Fellow, someone must contribute at least $1,000 in their name to the Rotary's Foundation Annual Fund, Polio Eradication, or approved foundation grants. These funds can be used to honor others while being applied to the amazing work that has distinguished our Rotary Foundation as an organization that provides hope, health, and peace around the world. So much good begins with these gifts. Wells are constructed, children are vaccinated against illness, senior citizens are afforded meals and services, children and adults are educated and given professional opportunities. This work is vital to the children, families, and communities who benefit. Only when people's basic needs are met can they pursue the larger elements of human life, including conflict resolution, community building, and peace. Paul Harris Fellows, in a very tangible way, provide stepping stones to a stronger, more stable, peaceful world. Our first honoree here for our Paul Harris Fellow is Clarence Haley, and this is a posthumous award. And I would just like to say that I'm going to read a little narrative about I'll say the spirit of what Clarence's life was about in terms of his service and his giving back to the community. And this comes from Andrea Lefevre Seghetti. It says, with a broken heart, I wanted to share about the passing of Mr. Clarence Haley. For the past 9 years, this very special friend from King Haven has come to my classroom weekly to listen to my students read. He gave the best hugs and the most genuine smile and the biggest heart. He proved to hundreds of children that he cared about them and that they mattered. Team Seghetti considered him part of our family, and we will cherish our many memories with him forever. So long for now, my buddy. My heart hurts in memory of you. In addition to that, Clarence was a DTE employee for 40 years, Red Cross relief, disaster relief volunteer, long-time CPR instructor, and in fact, I hate to say it, but I've been practicing almost 40 years, and about 35 years ago, he came to my office and helped us with our CPR program in our own office. So I have that personal memory of him. A member of the Shriners, a mentor for volunteer reading for second graders, and just a big heart and good friend to all. So with that, is there somebody that would receive this award for Clarence? Yes, we know. This is Paul Haley. Paul, please come up. Congratulations. Is there anything you'd like to say about your father?
First off, I'd like to say thank you on this Harris Award. My goodness. But I would say for my dad, the word would have been service, which is part of your tradition, and service above self. And for 50 years of teaching CPR classes, and yeah, 50 years of that kind of stuff. But he truly loved the people that he worked with. He loved Headkey School. I mean, he lived the last 10 years for that chance to go over to those second graders and read to them. And he was kind of proud that he never got promoted out of second grade over at Headkey. Got to stay there. And on behalf of the entire Haley family, we want to say thank you.
Paul, don't go anywhere, because you are also going to be an honoree tonight. And let me just say that Paul Harris Fellow recognition has decorated presidents, philanthropists, heads of state, entrepreneurs, industrialists, teachers, students, business professionals, and fellow Rotarians. And tonight, we are going to honor you to be among the over 1 million Paul Harris fellows. And I would like to say why. DTE retiree, originally a physicist at the Fermi plant. I think that sounds awesome, doesn't it? Physicist at the Fermi plant. Filled in as controller for the city of Trenton, thank you. Coordinator for emergency preparedness for the city of Trenton and working with Wayne County. And I mean, I think your work has been legendary throughout the community, and we can't appreciate it enough. Coordinates response to weather events and other natural events. Oversees emergency exercises, serves on the electioneer receiving board, great volunteer, and obviously an example of service above self. So Matt, if you will please decorate our latest Paul Harris Fellow recipient with his pin that we hope that he'll wear proudly.
Try not to get blood. Medic. Medic. The city probably requires it of it.
You got a procedure to do this?
There you go. And if you'll drape them. So when we have events, we would like you to come and wear your Paul Harris with us and wear that proudly. So if we could have a round of applause for outstanding Paul Harris.
Why don't you guys all come up that are Rotarians? Timber and Bill? And Bob?
Michael?
Oh, now I feel bad. Or worse, for that matter. So I'm not hide under this.
I'm thinking about it.
Take one more, Scott.
Okay, everybody smile. Very good.
Paul, the council would like to congratulate you.
Oh, I heard that. Paul. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, man.
No. I already heard you.
So,
Congrats, Paul. Absolutely. So thank you for everything.
Congratulations again. Thank you.
hold in.
Sorry.
There you go. Thank you. Wait, I get to congratulate. Congratulations. Job well done.
Thanks you and your dad.
Thank you.
Okay. Great job, Paul. Okay, next item on the agenda is for appointment, Zoning Board of Appeals, Historical Commission. That is for John Scott to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an alternate, and also Richard Hazinski to the Historical Commission for term expiring August 1st, 2022.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Benedetti?
Yes.
Howie?
Yes.
LaFever?
Yes.
Peruggi?
Yes.
Rizepa?
Yes.
Stack?
Abstain?
Von Crooks?
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Stack.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is Luann Kamen, letter of resignation from the City Beautiful Commission. If we could have a motion to receive and place it on file.
Support.
And that request administration send a letter of appreciation. It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. She spent many years on the City Beautiful and did a great job, especially outside here. She did some of the plantings that were out in front for many years. Also, next item is the 33rd District Court's fines, costs, fees, July 2019. Mayor Pro Tem LaFever, could you handle that, please?
Thank you, Mayor Stack. I make a motion to receive and place on file and receive the money for the fines, costs, and fees for July of 2019, which shows the city of Trenton have an obligation to pay $3,578.52. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is from our city attorney, request to table the ordinance 801, medical marijuana establishment until October 7th, 2019.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This request to defer on it is to allow the city planner and administration to collaborate on the final edits and language in that, and we'd ask council to approve it.
So moved.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Is there discussion? Councilman Howie?
So I'm assuming when we talk about the planner, it's also going to include the planning commission members?
I'm not sure that has to go back. Scott, does that have to go back to planning? I'm not sure about that.
We've had discussions with the planning commission chair to that effect, that actually the city planner, their firm has some educational pieces. As you'll recall, the planning commission made a recommendation, but I believe that was in early 2017, and some of the legal changes that have taken place or statutory changes at the state level, and they just would like to have incorporation in that.
I would just suggest that we give them an opportunity, because it appears that it's changed many, many times, so maybe we just give them a draft of the latest and greatest.
Okay. Councilman Benedetti?
So, I'm trying to figure out why this is taking so long. You and I have talked about this, Mayor. It's changed, it's changed, it's changed. We keep pushing them back. These guys want to make an investment in town. They've talked about what they want to do. They've been open about what they want to do. And here we are telling them, well, sorry, we thought we were close, but we're going to push it off 2 more months. So I'm going to tell you this. I am going to vote no on this unless you guys can get it back here by September 3rd. I give 2 weeks. That's the last thing I'm giving. If nobody else supports it, that's fine, but this is ridiculous. We've been dragging this out over and over.
Okay.
I just don't understand why it's so hard to do this. There's other places that are doing it. They're building businesses. They're doing it already. I just don't get it.
Okay. Councilman Fuji?
Yes, I side with Rick. I mean, I'm taking a verbiage from Bob, but we've kicked this can so far down the road, we can't even see the can. But I would also like to have a roll call vote on this, and also I agree with Bob that maybe planning should get some involvement further with us. But I'm also disappointed that this document is no different today than it was a long time ago. We should have had some kind of foundation in this document with opportunities to tweak it here and there. I get it. But I agree with Rick. We got to make a decision on this and not, kick it to October. I just can't do that.
Okay.
So I'm requesting a roll call vote.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Howie,
Yes.
LaFever,
Yes.
Carucci,
No.
Berzeppa,
No.
Stack,
Yes.
Von Crooks,
Yes.
Benedetti.
No.
Motion carried, Mayor Stack.
Okay.
I did have a question.
Kyle.
LaFever?
Were you guys, the three of you, in favor of not sending it back to the planning commission?
No, we're not in favor of approving it tonight, to bump it till October.
Yeah,
For
we're
the
not doing it
tabling.
till October.
Yeah, table it.
They're not for the tabling.
If you want planning commission, you want the chairman to look at it, the whole group, when's their next meeting? I mean,
Well, I don't know that.
We've been telling these people, oh, yeah, it's coming, oh, yeah, they come to meetings,
Who's
they
been
came to
telling them
study
that?
sessions.
You have, or we have?
We have.
We as a
We've
group.
sat here as a group and said, we're all for it, let us get a thing together. We told Mr. Long what we wanted 3 months ago, and we still don't have it. We told him 8 months ago in a study session. Yeah, we're getting it. We've been dragging these people on for 1.5 years now, Bill. We have, all of us.
Okay.
Councilman Von Crooks.
Well, this is, I mean, it's not like we're not in favor, a lot of us, of what they want to do, but I want to make sure that the language is correct. And I'm not for really postponing it till October. I'd like it to,
September.
Yes, sometime early September, because I think they have done a great job and they have wanted to invest in our community. But this is the first time anything like this has happened in our community, and we need to be sure of what it is and how it's going to be. And some people are worried about the cost of permits, the cost of this. We need to cross the Ts and dot the Is, give a chance for the residents to speak. This is the first they're seeing of a lot of this. So let's just, if we have to postpone it a couple weeks to make sure we're all on board, that everybody's seen it, everybody's had a chance to speak, then I'm all for it. I think October's too late, but I'm voting to table it for now until we have all the information. That's all. But I'm not saying I'm against it.
Councilman Howie?
So I'm assuming the administration is going to work and try to get it on one of our meetings in September, is that correct?
Yes. We were working on it today and found problems, okay? So, the clerk.
If you look under,
Yeah, go ahead.
if you look under administrative content on this item on board docs, that does show the revisions that were made. So there are, but it still needs to have final review from administration, planning, city planner, and the city attorney. So there have been revisions made to it, but it's just not finalized.
I don't know how many of you read this, but I went through this extensively over the weekend, and then wanted to find out, what the circumstance was in regards to, we don't have a building safety office, so some of this stuff needed to be put in the proper form, building and engineering. There was some other things that were submitted to, were put in here. This is a adjustment from when we got the reading from last week. This is an adjustment from that. So, I'm going to show you because I've got things that I've written and circled and all this stuff in regards to this. I also went through and wrote down everything that the clerk is going to need to put into the application, because the application, we need to finalize that. So I went through all that yesterday and spent the time to make sure what was going to be having to be on there, because there's oaths that they have to take, there's documentation naturally that they all have to provide. So it's all there, but it's a matter of trying to get these taken care of so that we can get the final reading in. So I'd like to get this done too. It's been on our plate for a long time, and it's time to move forward. So, Councilman LaFever?
Scott was first, but go ahead.
Scott,
If I can explain the October 7th date. If there's going to be participation or input from the Planning Commission, their next regular meeting is not until September 11th. Keeping with our regular desire of trying to have our agenda set the Thursday before a meeting, that would leave maybe 12 hours turnaround through the night after the Planning Commission meets to incorporate any changes into that next meeting's date. That was why the thought was to go to the October 7th date. That would allow time for input from Planning Commission, consultation with the city attorney, city staff, and incorporate it, have a document that isn't being revised right up until the time of the meeting, but have a document that is amended in final form so everybody can review it with, if they have any suggested edits, any cleanup, they can get it back to us, and everybody can have a document that they know what is in it with ample time before they vote on it.
Councilman Rezeppa?
No, thank you.
Councilman Howie?
I have to make a statement. I mean, Scott, with all due respect,
Actually,
you're worried about Thursday before that.
yeah.
I mean, the last time we got this was literally 5 minutes, hang on a second, 5 minutes before we started the last meeting. So come on, let's be real. So I think we beat this up enough. Let's, everybody do their job. Let's come back and then let's try to make it happen at the second meeting in September.
I will get these changes to you this week, and so that you can review it, and then we can move forward with what we need to do. So they're not anything big, but they were you know, they're minor, but it needs to be taken care of. So, and I'll tell you, that was worked on yesterday and today with me. So, do you have another one?
Yeah.
Councilman Favor?
Did these guys ever fill out an actual application, or still designing the application?
I'm just embarrassed.
I don't know where they are with their processes. I can't tell you. I don't know. They haven't filled out an application with us at this point in time because we don't have the application finalized with what we need to have on it.
They will fill it out, so none of these have been approved?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
At the state level, maybe they've been approved somehow, some way. I don't know exactly what that is. Anybody else have anything? Okay.
Madam Mayor?
No.
Councilman Peruggi?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to wrap my arms around what has changed in this document from the original inception that we've taken a year and a half.
I will tell you that there is 3 levels of marijuana growers. There's A, B, and C.
Okay.
The A, B, and C is between a grower for, I think it was 500 plants, 1,000 plants, and 1,500 plants, I think it is.
Right.
Okay. So that wasn't, we didn't have that mentioned in here. The other thing was everything, you know, different wording is instead of processing, it's a processor. The grower is a grower. Let's see. I'm trying to see what else I had on here. And that goes, you know, that goes into the rest of the, you know, different areas of the thing. Like I said, the building safety office, we don't have a building safety office. It has to, you know, it has to have the building and engineering office. One of the things I have to check with Wally is in regards to some of these things, because I don't think that some of these plans should be out there for just the general public to see, okay? So whether it's a chemical and pesticide storage plan, I'd like to know that our fire department's the only one that has this, and that, you know, everybody on God's green earth when it comes down to it. The A, B, and C is also on here. One of the things is the electrical, plumbing, and mechanical permits shall be obtained for any portion of the structure. And I included by a Michigan licensed contractor. I thought that should be on there. I don't think there was much more after that. So those things are the things that need to be tweaked. And I'll get this to you by the end of the week so that you can review it if there's anything changed.
So the goal is the worst case scenario, you're going to get it in front of the Planning Commission September 11th.
I'm hoping to do that, yes, or to get it to them.
All right, is there an opportunity to get it, if you get it done sooner, you're going to try to get it to them sooner, or?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
I'm done. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Zappa?
So I guess my question here is, I mean, Ray, you listed off all the things that needed to be changed, right? And you mentioned the word tweak, and frankly, that's what these are. Why weren't some of these things caught the first time when we read this? Like, this process has gone on for way too long, I mean, to the point where it's embarrassing.
I don't know.
And between that, wanting to go back to the planning commission, getting them involved. Why weren't they involved the first time then? This is
These were.
trying to take a deep breath, but yeah, I think.
I understand your
yeah.
frustration, because
I just don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's just get it done.
I understand. I'd like to get this off my plate myself, so.
No, and I understand. I'm not directing that at you,
No, no,
Madam
no.
Mayor. That's
I
just sort of
understand.
my general sentiment here. But I'm frustrated would be an understatement. Embarrassed might be a better term.
Okay. So we will get this, by the end of the week, I'll have it all to the council. It might even be sooner than later. And then we will get this rolling so that the planning commission can see it, and also our city planner and the different ones, to make sure that we're moving forward with it. So that's where we're at. We already had a vote, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions before I go to the next item? Okay, next item on the agenda is our city controller transfer to Kennedy Recreation Fund. Mrs. Saul, please.
Thank you. Council, before you, I'm recommending or requesting a transfer of $237,000 from the general fund to the Kennedy Recreation Fund due to a cash deficit.
Need a motion to
So
approve the
moved.
transfer? It's been moved.
Support
Support?
for,
Purposes of discussion? Councilwoman Von Crooks?
yeah, I have a problem with always transferring out of the general fund to the Kennedy Recreation Center. I know we have to keep it afloat, but for many years now, I've suggested some advertising strategies and things that we can do to raise money down at the rink, down at that whole center. And I think we should look into it, maybe have a study session with the Recreation Commission and Joanne and Tim, and see if there isn't a way that we can bring in some more revenue down there through advertising, different programs. Maybe we need to, up our fees somewhat, whatever, but this is getting costly every year to transfer to the, Recreation Center. So if there's a way that we could have a study session with them and maybe promote raising some funds for down there, so we don't have to transfer out of the general fund every year. Just a suggestion.
Okay. Councilman Howie?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I got to say, I'm totally frustrated. I mean, when we started this budget process, I'm going to back up probably 4 or 5 years. Each and every year, I make the same statements when we talk about our Parks and Rec program and the Kenny Rec Center. Once again, we're overly optimistic when it comes to estimating our revenues, and we totally underestimate our expenses. So this year, and this is no different. I take the same exact wording and I bring it to the same conversation, the same each and every year. So back in spring, in April, when this came up again, I made the same statements. Then I talked about, by the way, how are we doing? And the response back was, we're doing fine. It looks like we're going to be close. Well, did we not approve a budget from last year of $81,000? So we're $155,000 off again. I just don't understand. In any private business in America, it's not sustainable. When you spend more money each and every year than what you bring in, so we ask for different things. So I understand, there's no question about it, we need to make the loan payments. There's no question about that. And then there was the Honeywell. So I don't want to beat that up, but there was another statement. There was on the halfway down on our request action, and it says the Kennedy Fund did make the debt payments to the general fund for the fiscal year of $213,362,000 for the Honeywell project and the refinance of the recreational center fund bonds. These payments can be reversed at the length of the loan and could be extended if the council prefers that option. I just want to state, I am absolutely opposed. We got to quit putting things on the credit card. We got to quit borrowing money. So I would hope that they're going to do a transfer,
Yep, those are your two options.
and perhaps that we take some money out of the 1920 or the 2021, whatever we got to do. I just think that we have some challenges. We got a couple years, and fortunately, we got a couple years, and then one of the notes that's going to come off that we pay each and every year that's going to give us, obviously help us out. But when we just talked about it in April, and we said everything's fine, and here it is a few months later, it's not fine. That's it.
Okay. Any other questions? Are we still at the motion to approve? Okay.
I thought somebody approved.
Seconded.
Yep.
Bill?
Yep, we second
Yep.
it.
Bill and
Okay.
I.
made the motion.
Okay, so is there any other discussion? If not, it's unanimously so ordered. Okay, city engineer, request to award public safety parking lot reconstruction. Mr. Shagash. Our assistant engineer tonight.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is regarding, as you said, the award to pave the public safety parking lot, contract number 2018-03. You should have documentation attached, recommendation letters. The bid came in at $153,943, which was right in the budget, close to the budgeted amount. The fund it's going to come out of is a DDA fund, 494-802-974.009. Our recommendation is to award the public safety parking lot reconstruction contract 2018-03 to the lowest qualified bidder, which is Best Asphalt, in the amount of $153,943. Reject all other bids, and additionally, to establish a total budget, project budget to include material testing and contingency, the amount of $170,000.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Councilman LaFever?
Yeah, there's a piece of property the city bought just south of the fire station there.
Yes, sir.
And I think we should look at doing something with that. We're going to need more parking down there, okay, as more development happens. And if we can work with that owner of the Riverside Pharmacy and then strip a property that we own there from the old Cindy Party Store, if we could do something like that to enable us to have more parking down there, I think would be a great addition.
Okay.
Maybe we talk about that at all?
Good idea.
It's an awkward site, I'll say that.
I will pass that on to Mr. Hogan when he gets back next week. I'm sure he'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, did I finish that one off? I'm sorry. Or am I still needing to finish it off? Okay. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Next item on the agenda is our Parks and Recreation Director, Mrs. Gagne, sale of old Dasher boards.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Dasher boards in the Fellman Arena are being replaced this summer, and we have received some inquiries from persons interested in purchasing the old Dasher board material that was salvaged during demolition. Because of this interest, I am requesting permission to make the salvaged Dasher board material available for sale to these interested parties. We do not have the ability to repurpose this material, and the plan would be to discard it otherwise. And any proceeds from the sale would be deposited in the miscellaneous revenue account. Your consideration is requested.
So moved.
Support. It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Councilman Peruggi.
Yes, you're right. Do we have a rough idea what we might be getting in return for those?
In the range of maybe $400 or $500, in that range.
All right.
So it's 200 grand.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
55,000.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Next item is Parks and Recreation again for authorization for compressor number 2 rebuild.
Thank you. As we discussed at our budget meetings, the compressor number 2, which services the Kennedy Recreation Center refrigeration plant, is in need of rebuilding. Attached is the proposal that we received from Service Refrigeration, who is our preventative maintenance contractor, to perform this necessary work. The rebuild will prolong the life of the compressor and will allow the refrigeration plant to operate efficiently. And therefore, I am requesting authorization for Service Refrigeration to rebuild the Mycon 6-cylinder compressor per the attached quote in the amount of $12,000, plus the cost of any additional parts that may be needed. However, we don't anticipate that there should be, most all of the parts have been included in the quote, but again, they won't know until they tear it apart. This is a budgeted item, and funds are available in the equipment maintenance account, and your favorable consideration is appreciated.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, do we have any late items?
No, we do.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to direct the next items to our Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman LaFever.
Thank you, Mayor Stack. I make a motion to authorize disbursements dated August 19, 2019 for $488,627.20.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered.
My next motion will be to authorize the ACH transactions dated July 2019 in the amount of $1,733,440.53.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered.
And receive and place on file the following reports: the financial summary dated July 31st, 2019, the schedule of investments and cash on hand dated July 31st, 2019, the Historical Commission minutes dated July 8th, 2019, the Planning Commission regular meeting minutes dated July 10th, 2019, and the special meeting minutes dated July 31st, 2019. And finally, to receive and place on file the Fire Department and Police Department monthly reports dated July 2019.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered.
One more motion, okay?
Okay.
And that is moved to recess the regular council meeting of August 19th, 2019, and commence a closed session for the purpose of litigation.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
LaFever?
Yes.
Peruggi?
Yes.
Rezeppa?
Yes.
Stack?
Yes.
Crooks?
Yes.
Benedetti?
Yes.
Howie?
Yes.
Motion carried, Mayor Stack.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is for other council business. Councilman LaFever, did you have anything else?
No, that's it right now, thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to start with Councilman Benedetti this evening. You have anything?
Yeah, I guess one thing, I'd like to tell Joanne and Tim
That's what it said.
that your pool staff yesterday was awesome. They had the TBA pool party for the baseball teams, and as you well know, all of a sudden, it stormed really bad. And they were helpful, they made sure the kids were all taken care of, got everybody out, helped us get our stuff out of there, so we didn't get caught in rain or anything else. And, you know, they could have not done that, I know, but they went and they helped, they got stuff moving, made sure the kids were safe, got us where we needed to be, and I really appreciate that. I don't know who the young man was, but he must have been head lifeguard, but he's like, hey, look, you know, we can do this, let's, you know, and it was good. It was good to see that they took the initiative and not just went, oh, I'm done. So I thought that was awesome. Now, to go back to what we were talking about before, I sure hope that we don't go through this in the future, because, you know, we keep saying we want stuff to come to Trenton. We want to build Trenton. We want to get Trenton moving. Well, people come to us and want to invest in our town, and we're dragging them along. You know, they're committed to making an investment, and we keep pushing them down the road. And I hope we don't do this again. I really do. That's it.
Okay, Councilman LaFever?
Just a couple of things. The mayor called me and asked to fill in for her at ribbon cutting down at the climate-controlled storage place next to McDonald's. And I went down there. About 75 people showed up for it. They had food, refreshments. Bob Howie was there. The place is beautiful. It's unbelievable for
Very nice.
climate storage. It's truly unbelievable, okay? If you get a chance, stop by there. We got a chance to talk to the restaurant owner who was going to open a restaurant before the end of the year in that building, the fire building on the east. He was very nice, and I was impressed. Bob, what do you think?
I thought it was very nice. You know, anybody that makes substantial investment in our community, I think we all need to support their business and whatnot. So it's a very nice looking building, and I thought it was, he did a nice job, so I couldn't be more pleased.
And
Anything else?
no, I'll skip right here.
Okay.
I hope your mom's doing good.
Thank you.
You know,
Yeah, she's got some issues going right now, so
take
Thank
care
you.
of her.
we will do that.
Thank you.
Councilman Peruggi?
Just waiting, to see if Bill remembers.
No,
what
I won't bring it up.
Oh, well, okay. I just, there's nothing I can say. I think I said it already, so I'm going to pass.
Okay. Councilman Howie?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just wondering if administration, if they can give us an update what's going on with the zoning with the McLeod Steel site. Is there anything new with that?
There's going to be a meeting of the zoning subcommittee, hopefully before Labor Day. That recommendation for the total zoning classification update citywide for all zoning classifications is scheduled to go before the Planning Commission at their September 11th meeting.
Okay. And then could you be kind enough to give us an update, if you can, on the hospital site as well?
The hospital, and with all due respect to the marijuana issue, the hospital site and the DTE site is absolutely consumed every waking minute. There was a court hearing on Friday. We have another court hearing on Wednesday on Riverside. There's a trial date set that we are moving forward with depositions. There's no progress to date. We still have a motion before the judge on Wednesday at Wayne County Circuit Court for appointment of a receiver, and we have been utilizing all our efforts trying to be successful in that endeavor.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just a couple quick more. As far as I know everybody probably seen it in their council pack, but it was disappointing to see the resolution that was approved by the city of Riverview. Everybody's got to make a stance, but once again, if they want the project to sit there idle and be a blight, then that's what's going to happen. But and lastly, I brought it up the last meeting, so I'm all ears. I'm waiting to hear when we're going to sit down and talk a little bit about the DTE, when they're going to close and how it's going to affect the services that we provide.
You're going to hear about it tonight in a
Beautiful.
closed session.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Councilman Rozapa?
Yeah, a couple quick things. I had mentioned, I think it was 2 or 3 meetings ago, about having a representative from the EPA come to give an update, kind of just on the to tell the public in more layman's terms about what's going on at the McLeod site, and I just want to see if administration had heard back and if that was possible.
You heard from Brian?
Yes, I did have discussions with Brian Kelly from the EPA. He said he would be more than happy to come down to one of our upcoming meetings. I think it's just a matter, I think his office is in the transition to Ann Arbor mode.
Mm-hmm.
But I expect he's going to be making a presentation, hopefully here within our next couple of meetings.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you. Secondly, I know, I think it was last week that the high school was out with gold card sales, and normally I buy one every year, but unfortunately I wasn't home, so I didn't know if there was, Madam Mayor, if you know, or I know Dr. Doyle is here with the school district, if they're still selling those, if there's ways to get those outside of the door-to-door sales that I unfortunately missed.
They're available for $10 at the central office and through the athletic department.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
September 18th, if you stop by the school, we want to get you one.
Okay, as I figured you weren't going to turn down my money, but the one time that I was carrying cash too, for that matter. And then lastly, I don't want to harp on it too much. I didn't say too much earlier just because I was afraid of swearing on TV. But I do want to reiterate my extreme frustration and disappointment in this marijuana ordinance process, or lack thereof. That's all for me tonight.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Von Crooks.
Yeah, just a thing. You had sent us a memo to the council about the very bad alley that's downtown between 3rd and 4th Street. It's kind of a roller coaster down there, and I just wondered if the council had any thoughts on getting that alley fixed.
I asked them to drive down the alley, that's what I asked, and I don't
Oh,
know
that's why
how
I'm
many of them
asking.
did, because I didn't get any response, so.
Okay, well, that's why I'm asking the council tonight to take into consideration for the people who live down there that I've not seen an alley in this town that bad, and it's been bad. They've been complaining for 4 years. So I think it's time to do something so these people can get their cars out. They want to buy nice cars. One of my friends wants to buy a Corvette, but she doesn't want to bottom out trying to get out of the alley. They do bring their trash cans around to the front of their house. They're not picked up in the alley. So these people need some relief down there. So I'm just, I've been hearing about it for a long time too, so I'm just hoping that we can do something for them.
If I could ask the council, because the gentleman called me again today, and I haven't had a chance to get back to him, but if I could ask that the council drive down there, I think that I'm going to need a little help if we're going to proceed, because we usually do not pave alleys except for, and I know it's been done in the business district and things like that, but you know, I'm willing to move forward with whatever we think we need to do, so. Councilman LaFever?
Yeah, I did drive down. I already talked with people like numerous times, like Timber has. They've got taken care of their houses very well down there. It's a nice area, and doggone it, we need to do something to help those people. Okay,
That's right.
We really do.
Absolutely.
If the alley starts going bad, the neighborhood will start falling apart too. And
It's the runoff from the rain. I mean, it ends up to the
Well,
ends.
the one thing that will happen is, and they'll need to know this, is that there is no sewers going down that pathway. I found this out this morning, and that the water will run to their yard. So, you know, we might create another problem. So we got to figure out what we're going to do, you know, how we can drain it. So.
But that alley, the corners of the alley, that goes downhill, so it's gonna be running down, not so much into their yards, I would think.
Well, I don't
it's
know.
not gonna
I'm
be
not an
way
engineer,
above.
so I can't tell you.
I'm
but-
not either, I'm just.
Madam
a
Mayor, can we
hairdresser.
have the engineering department get back with you and then give us a quick a ballpark and see if there is a solution that can?
I have asked for a ballpark. It's about $150,000. So that's,
That's what it
I
is.
need some money if that's the case.
Quality of life.
I've gone through all the chapters of trying to get to where we need to go.
Well, in
But
the meantime, they could put some stone down too.
To do something, just in the
Get rid of some of
interim.
the deep ruts and whatnot.
So, all right, I asked that if you haven't ridden down there, if you would, please, and report back to me as to what you think, so. Okay, is that it for you, Councilwoman Von Crooks?
Oh, yeah, I think that's it for
Okay.
now.
I have a couple of things here. I'm just reminding and I'm going to have these flyers on the racks coming up, but we're having a problem, especially with the flushable wipes that aren't so flushable through our wastewater treatment system. So they have a flyer that tells you what you should put down there, and I will tell you it's the 3 Ps, and I'm not going to tell you what those are because I'm not going to go there, but those are the only thing that should go down your toilet at this point in time. So the flushables, if you're going to use, they call them flushable wipes. If you're going to use those, they need to be put in a trash container, not into the sewer system, okay? So that's just a reminder. I'll have those on the rack coming up here.
Madam Mayor, is that
Yes.
going to be on the website at all?
I can put that out there too. I'll have Leah put that out there so that people, I'll have her do the whole flyer so it's out there. The City of Trenton residents and employees and emergency services on, I believe it was August 22nd, which is this week, Thursday, we are going to have the bridge over Marion and Harrison resurfaced, okay? So it will be closed totally, so people will have to find alternate routes to get around that area, and that will be done on Thursday. I would assume it's probably weather permitting, but it's asphalt surfacing, milling, and installing, okay? Also, I'd like to congratulate, because I keep on forgetting to do this, I want to congratulate our city controller and also deputy administrator. She has been accepted to the 16/50 Projects 2019 Women's Municipal Leadership Program. And I don't know exactly, when do you start that?
Friday.
Starts this week. So just want to congratulate her because she was picked out of, there's only 30 women picked and she was one of them. So we want to congratulate her for her fine job there. Okay, also,
I feel honored.
if the council wouldn't mind, I would like $10 for a band booster ad. So if you could get that to me, I will let you know that.
Give that to her, Mike, okay?
Okay. Other than that, I will open it up to our city clerk. Do you have anything this evening?
I would like to mention that this meeting will be recessing, and then council will go upstairs for a closed session to discuss litigation, and then they will be coming back down to convene the meeting again and possibly vote on whatever they're discussing upstairs. So the meeting is not going to adjourn at this time. It's going to recess and then come back. And the next regular council meeting is Tuesday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. City Hall will be closed on Monday, September 2nd in honor of Labor Day.
Okay. Councilwoman Von Crooks.
I just have a suggestion. I don't know how long we're going to be upstairs, but if there's any resident that's here that might want to speak or something, do
Oh,
you
no,
think
we're
we
going to
could
go
take
through the
them?
whole thing. We're going to go all the way to the end.
To the end. Okay, just want to make sure that
We're just
people
going to
don't
come
have
back and reconvene and then either
Okay.
decide if we're going to make a motion or if we're going to just close out the meeting then.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Perfect.
Department heads, Mr. McCullough, our city treasurer, you have something tonight?
I do. Just a couple things. It's that time of year. I just want to let folks know that taxes will be due September 3rd, and that's a Tuesday. And I want to thank people that have already stepped up and paid their taxes. It's such a it's rewarding. I just had about 2 or 3 people today, and it happens often. And I think council needs to know this: is that people come in to pay their taxes. Not everybody likes paying their taxes, but the people I talked to today, they usually do, have a smile on their face. I think it's because of the way they're treated at the window, but also because they get value for the services here in town. So I know the taxes and budget are tough issues, but I think the residents are appreciative of what we're being able to do. So I just want you to know.
Okay, thank you. Our city assessor, Mr. Dahlquist, do you have anything this evening? I skipped over you and then, because Mike was already at the podium. Sorry about that. Any department heads have anything they'd like to notify the public of? No? Any residents that would like to talk to the council, if you'd like to go to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. This is going to be the last time because we're not going to do this after we come back.
Nobody?
Somebody's behind you.
I'll defer to my elders.
Those of you that know me, my name is Bill Ames, and I'm a loudmouth. My own question is, has the city had any contact with the railroads as far as taking care of some of these things on King Road and other places? Harrison, they all need to be something. I mean, I go through there daily and coming and going, and it's very upsetting to have to do that. I noticed they have Pennsylvania shut down and Wyandotte, they're working on something, I don't know. Is it hard to get all the different railroads coordinated to do any of this sort of thing, or?
It's hard to just deal with the railroads generally. We just went to a meeting that Debbie Dingle held. And we ended up having all the railroads there. And so I proceeded to talk to them about that our tracks are getting rough. We need some relief there. I know they worked at one point on Van Horn. but never came north of here. So I have the gentleman's name for CN. I do not have for Conrail. I'm trying to find those names so that I can make sure that I can contact them. But there is a lot of things that need to be fixed on the tracks, as I well know with going over them myself. So, it's Sibley's really rough. And then also Harrison, I noticed, I just went through there probably last Friday, I think it was. And so some of the plates and things are missing out of the, where the tracks are at, where they, to make it a smooth surface. So I am having a meeting coming up here with that group of people again. We are making this a regular basis. This is the biggest, just so you know, this is the biggest thing that's being talked about is the railroads in general because of the blockages of the tracks. We're having a major issue with all those, and they're not there just for 10, 15 minutes. It's getting to be sometimes an hour or more. So we are working with them. I did have a listening ear from CN that the gentleman was willing to come over and talk to me about some of the issues. So I'm hoping that I can see if there's something we can do to get some of those fixed, because I know they're getting pretty rough. So
Thank you.
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Can I comment on that?
Councilman LaFever?
Yeah, my wife told me if I didn't bring up the railroad tracks tonight, she would kill me, okay? Twice in the last 2 weeks, we waited for over an hour. You remember? Over an hour, okay? That's unbelievable. And what's gonna happen, the big stink was the ice cream over there on Allen Road for Walmart people, okay, wanted to cross in there, okay? I wanna cross before somebody dies there.
Sure.
Something's gonna happen there, and we'll say, well, we should have done something about it, okay? But you can't have closures for an hour.
I mean, I've actually asked if we could make the tunnel there's a tunnel that goes in Grange. And the guy was listening to me, in regards to it, but he has to know how wide it's got to be, because I've got to have, this was just in the last couple weeks, somebody to figure out if we can make it wider so that we can send an emergency vehicle through there if the train is across the track, because I'm getting desperate, when it comes down to it. So he was willing to listen to that, but yeah, it's getting pretty rough with all that. Now, we will be. I haven't talked to Steve or Todd for this, the chief and the director, but next week, any reports that we get of trains on the track, I need to have that report, because we're trying to gather the facts on that. So Steve's somewhere, or did he leave? Oh, I don't see him. Okay. Okay, any of the tracks, if there's anybody that is going to be across, if any of the trains are across the tracks and people report it to you, I need to know that for the next week.
Just so you know, they don't usually call us anymore.
Okay.
They've given up on
Nothing
that.
happens.
And
Yeah.
if you like, I can address that issue for just a second. What's really happening?
Yeah, the other thing that we were looking to do is, were you going to tell them what we were thinking about doing?
Well, no, what I was
Okay.
thinking about is the reason why it's happening, the real reason.
Okay, can you go up to the microphone so
Learned at the
they
meeting.
can hear you?
So the federal government increased the amount of cars on trains. It used to be, I think it was 140, and they've gone over 320.
Oh, my.
So, what's happening is, what it sounds like from CN was saying, and Burlington Northern, I think that's it, they have to separate their,
Norfolk,
they have to separate
Southern.
their trains now. And we're by 2 switch yards. So they're separating them, sitting across Vreeland. They'll block Vreeland for an hour and a half, or they'll block Sibley for an hour and a half. It depends on which way they choose that day. I took away from the meeting that there's really nothing they're going to do about it.
Correct.
And we can't regulate the railroad.
Yeah, exactly.
What about grade separation? Did you guys have that discussion?
We did talk about the grade separation. That's one of the things that we're talking about with the mayors, with Debbie Dingle, because she has the federal, she has access to the federal monies and stuff that maybe we can do something with. But we were going to have another meeting. They just wrote me a note today, a text, that they want to have another meeting coming up here. I think it's around the 11th of September, so we can talk.
Were they talking Fort Street and Van Horn, or Van Horn and Allen Road?
Well, I will let you know, I've talked to Pat Odette, and she's done with, with what she's tried to do over there. She said that she, will support anything that I can do at this point. And so we're working on trying to do something. We already have like 6 renderings of this. It happened back in the middle of 2000s. And so what's happened is that we already have a plan. The problem is the plan now has gotten more expensive. There were 6 renderings where they would have a service drive running along where the houses are on the where Rick Benedetti
Fourth
lives
Street.
along there along 4th Street, so that they could get people could get in their subdivisions and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different ones that we do have. It's not like we don't have a plan. It's just that now it's trying to find the money to do it, because it's probably more like I think back then it was like between 20 and 25 million. Now it's like probably 30 or 35. You know what I mean? That's what has come up with it. But yes, that's not something we're not stopping on. We're still working to see what we can do. These are some of the things that, we're working on internally, through administration, so.
Thank you.
All righty.
Mayor?
Councilman LaFever?
This is also the evacuation route for Fermi, 4th Street is, okay? It's not a 2-lane road over there now, it's not a 2-lane road, you can't get people out, okay?
Well, and the thing that you got to remember too, we are, Beaumont is a trauma center.
Right, trauma too.
And so if there was an emergency, even in Detroit, this is a straight shot all the way down to the hospital. But we also are, for the Fermi part of it too. There's a lot more than meets the eye with that. So I did write a letter to hand out to all those railroads that, my thing is that, I'm afraid that we're going to get blocked in there with all the railroads going different ways. And then if an emergency comes up, the only way we're going to get in there is a helicopter, okay? So there's a lot of issues that, it worries me. So I'm trying to do what I can to work on it to see what we can do, so.
How about the lobbyists, is he helping us?
Yes. Okay. And when Gretchen Whitmer was down here, I even put a plug in her ear besides, every time I hear somebody from the state, just to see if there's something that we can get money-wise, when she had come here to, have a meeting that she had here, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, do you have something else?
I was just going to add that to Mr. Ames's question, was that CN did come through and fix their track last year. And for some reason, the other railroad companies did not at the same time, because they shut those intersections down last year.
I've got them
for a
all
considerable
labeled.
amount
It's
of
kind of
time.
funny, because I think Conrail's on, I think it goes, CN is on outsides.
Yeah, I
outside,
think it was
and then
CN that did it.
Conrail is in the inside, so, we're having issues there. It's not only Sibley, but then you got King and you got, Harrison. That's a problem, so. More issues I can talk to them about when it comes down to, hopefully to help you out. We'll try. We'll keep plugging. Mr. McNally?
Good evening, Mayor. John McNally, 140 St. Joseph. I'm here to discuss, or at least present, on the issue of the medical marijuana and the expansion of marijuana in the city of Trenton. I was a little surprised to hear that this matter had been going on for a year and a half, and that there was some frustration or embarrassment in the room. I'd like to think that I'm pretty involved in the community. My business is here, my residence is here, my family's here. I'm involved in the community. I come to these meetings somewhat regularly. I run into certain people somewhat regularly. And this is about a week and a half ago was the first that I had heard of this proposed ordinance expanding the growth of marijuana in the town. I guess I'm just wondering what the city council has done by way of investigation, gathering data, statistical evidence. I've done quite a bit since I learned about this ordinance, and I've learned some pretty horrific things that are happening in places that have increased the growth of marijuana in their communities, their counties, or their states. I've learned about the increase of deaths in Colorado up to 150%. Marijuana related. I've learned about the incidence of ERs being filled up, an increase of 131% with marijuana related incidents. I've learned of the increase of black market. I've talked to the DEA. I've learned of violent crime increasing 18%, property theft increasing 8%. A really interesting thing I learned about Colorado, conversely, though, is that 65% of the communities in Colorado have opted out. They're not allowing recreational nor medical marijuana sales in their communities. 65% in the leading state in this country in medical marijuana and recreational marijuana, 65% of those communities have opted out. Now, in the last few years, I have seen nothing but growth in this town. I've seen some wonderful things. I've seen some great things done by this council. I've seen many young families moving into this town. I've seen people walking with strollers up and down Jefferson. I've seen the improvement of homes in Trenton. I've seen and I'm sure everybody has seen the increase of values in the residents in the city of Trenton in the last year or two or three. I've seen the increase of 100 students, more students than Trenton Public Schools have had in years come in last year, and it's anticipated another 100 are going to come in this year that'll bring revenue to this city in excess of $1 million to the school district. I've seen the people step up and agree to a $57 million bond issuance, a millage, to improve the schools in this town. I've seen real caring and real commitment by the people in this town for their town and for their future. I guess I'm just trying to find out, what are we going to gain from this? What are we going to gain from having a corridor of medical marijuana or more in the future between King Road and Sibley Road? I've asked that question of some people. There's a nominal financial benefit, I understand. I've heard a number of $10,000 or $15,000. Some had suggested that these buildings would go up in value. Well, the improvements have already been done once they went in as caregivers. And understand, none of this is personal. This comes from my heart, and this is about the town. You know that there's only less than 5% of the communities in the entire state of Michigan are contemplating what this community is contemplating. That recently there were 3 communities that voted to increase medical marijuana and other marijuana in their town, and their own citizens went around them, petitioned, had a special election. All 3 of those communities lost that, and the citizens prevailed in overriding the city council. I just don't know what the benefit is. If there's a financial benefit, I think the people should know. The people I've talked to, there's a detriment. The attorneys that I've talked to that represent communities, there's a detriment. There's increased fire, there's increased police, there's special training that's necessary because of electrical fires and the increased incidence of electrical fires, and that they're much more difficult to fight than other fires. There's increased crime. So I just asked this body, who are we? What is the hurry of putting this through? I mean, when we look around the state of Michigan, nobody else is in a race to increase the growth of medical marijuana. Very, very few communities. So why are we doing this? What is the benefit? Do we know the data? Do we know the statistics? What's the financial benefit? What's the financial detriment? Does the common person living in Trenton know about this? Have they had an opportunity to present and be heard? I would just ask that this body think about all that going forward. I don't know of any deadline for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, October 7th. I understand that some people have been waiting. Maybe the city should wait a little bit longer and take a hard look and see who we are, who we want to be in 5 years, who we want to be in 10 years. Is this move going to make us stronger or weaker as a community? Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Appreciate it. Anyone want to comment? Okay.
Good evening, Council. I'd just like to put my 2 cents in on that note.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Marty Molino, 335 Maple. You know, I don't have the political attorney speech for you guys tonight. What I do know is that Michigan voted, your residents voted, overwhelmingly to approve this. Those statistics you all have had, you all have. We have been reviewing this for 2 years. I'm not sure how Mr. McNally just got note of it, but it's been in front of us for several council meetings. Statistics tell you that there's positive benefits to it, not only financially, but for your residents. Colorado is not the #1 state in the United States. It's California. Michigan's #2 in the country for medical marijuana card-carrying members. So his statistics are not quite accurate. Over 300,000 medical marijuana card carriers in Michigan alone that need this medicine. This is, if I was applying for a tomato factory, I'd been open a year ago, people. Nobody knows what's going on in those factories. They don't, was Monsanto any different? What did they make? Pesticides? Now they're being sued. I mean, tomatoes, it's all agricultural. You can put anything negative into it you want to. The bottom line is that your residents voted for it, voted for you, and this is, like some of your members said, this is getting dragged on too long. The ordinances are there, everybody's approved it, the little technicalities we respect. However, we're business owners in this town, have been for years, lifelong residents as well in this town, positive members in this community. We want to upgrade and build onto our facilities to bring tax dollars in. The reason there's more kids is because the older generations are moving out and the younger generations are moving in. I mean, that was a great number, but I mean, the fact is that we're here to give back to this community by putting money back into it with businesses. Some councilman said we support businesses that want to come in. Come on, guys. We're not feeling that. We want to put back into this community too, via businesses. We've been lifelong residents for 80 years. We're not outsiders coming in. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else that would like to speak to the council? If not, we're going to recess and then come back for reconvening of for the end of the meeting. Okay. Is that 8:15? sit down because he's putting it back on TV.
All right, Tim, let's go.
She's not coming down.
We'll be on TV. Talk up, let her talk up here.
Her knee hurts.
Yeah, talk up here, Timber. You got to sit down, it's on TV. It's on TV.
I'm even coming back to my seat.
You're gonna,
Okay,
approve
move
the
to
framework.
reconvene.
I'm a rule follower.
Well, hang on a second, wait.
Bob, your microphone's not on.
Motion to reconvene.
Okay.
Okay, hold on 1 minute, okay.
Put it on, put your mic
Is everybody ready? Because he's getting ready to turn this on. And did you turn it on?
Nah.
Because Scott and Wally aren't done here yet.
Okay.
There's Wally.
Usually Bill we're
Hey,
waiting
Mike,
for.
that wasn't for you.
Freezing in here.
I just want to throw it. I played in a softball game yesterday. I've found some muscles in my legs that I did not know existed up until today. That
27 years.
I've been having a lot of.
26.
So we'd like to make a motion
Exercise
to
the
go ahead and reconvene.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Okay. So now we're looking for a motion for purposes of moving forward with some.
Motion to approve the parameters of the settlement discussed in closed session.
Support.
And authorizing your attorney to,
And authorize the attorney and administration to continue.
To move forward, yep, okay. It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, it's unanimously so ordered. Just looking for a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved, supported, and it's 9:35.